Observer is the observed. One of the most important and profound things that every single person has to go into and understand truly, not on intellectual level, not intellectually, not by thinking, but actually having an insight into this thing. Because it is so important and crucial for you to see your thinking mechanism, the way you think, the way you observe your thoughts, to see the whole absurdity of your suffering, absurdity of you comparing yourself to other people, absurdity of being afraid of the future, absurdity of having so many labels to yourself and other people. And hopefully I'll try my best to explain this thing in a simpler terms, because all of the people that explain this stuff, they use so many unnecessary words, so many unnecessary fancy spiritual words that just confusing. And hopefully this will plant some sort of seed in your mind, and you will change your life, and it will truly, you will become more, courageous, more attentive, more clear. This is very powerful, and it's not a secret. Okay, let's get into it. So let's start with this. We always think that let's say that you observe your thoughts. We always think that we think our thoughts. We always think that we have a fear. We have anxiety. There's always, whatever you do, you always think that there is someone who thinks. This is not spirituality. This is not manifestation. This is mechanics. That's what I call it. Thinking mechanics. So that's the example I was talking about. This is you, all of us, and we always think this space here around his head is the space in which we have our thoughts, our fears, our desires, our images, our fantasies, everything. It's all happening somewhere. We can't pinpoint it, right? We can scientifically point out to our brain and say this part is responsible for this. This has this type of frequency. Okay, yeah, but we cannot visualize it somewhere digitally. It's impossible, right? It just, like, you can get me. So inside of that space, we always think that there is certain entity that we call ourselves, me or you, and there is you inside of you. And this entity, imaginary entity, always fights with thoughts, always fights with shame, anxiety, and fear. For example, I'm afraid I'm gonna fail. So in this case, I have someone who's me. I imagine myself that there is a certain I who is afraid of being a failure. Me who is afraid to get embarrassed. Me who's afraid that other people are gonna think something about me and I get anxious. Me who's afraid of my thoughts, certain thoughts, negative thoughts. This is a very crucial, very key point here. And we're gonna break down why it's absurd. Let me get this second structure here. Whatever you have in your mind, whatever fantasies you have, thoughts you have, ideas, images, they didn't come from nowhere, right? They all came from somewhere. And this somewhere was dictated by your environment. Let's break it down together. Again, we're exploring together here. So, everything that you know about yourself, everything that you know about the world, the way you perceive it, was built, was shaped by your family. Okay, let's make it smaller. Your culture, traumas, experiences, memory, mm, like a lot of things, media as well, media, comparison, and of course they're all connected, right? Comparison is trauma, media, culture. I'm just showing you all those words to have a greater, clearer picture. That's enough for now. So we have knowledge. Yeah, and very important, knowledge. Yeah, knowledge. You have knowledge, practical knowledge. This is what makes you, you. How other people treated you, culture around you, your friends, your traumas, your negative, positive experiences, doesn't matter. It all collects into your memory. It's all in the past. And all this past, all those stories that happened to you creates you. So basically, what we can do now, look, is do it, connect all of them. Because this thing here, you are afraid of something, both you and that fear that you have were both created by the same source. Family, culture, media, memory, a comparison, being worthless, all those memories, all those people were talking shit about you, or like good experience, doesn't matter. All this collection of things created the me. You are essentially collection of all those things, whatever you remembered. Because let's do it together right now. Like, think with me. Can you pinpoint specifically right now who are you? Because you are not the name. This is very famous breakdown, right? You're not the name, you're not the body, you're not your heart, you're not your feelings, blah blah blah. So can you pinpoint where are you? Where is that entity that is you? You can't. Some people say, well, I'm consciousness. It's just a word. But factually, can you like pinpoint where are you? You cannot, because that you that you think about is a part of your thinking. It's a thought. And anxiety, shame, fear, future, what else? All those just thoughts in general, they all created by the same pool as well. So me created by this pool, and all those fears that you have were also created by the same pool. So there is no conflict. You see, every single conflict that you have right now with yourself is pointless and useless. I hope you can. I, I, I'm doing my best to visually represent it. Every single fight, because it's all like this is suffering, right? You always Let me put this. Oh my god. Let me What's going on? Yeah, one sec. We always fight. Suffering is always fighting with yourself, right? When something happens, you don't agree, you're trying to run away, you're trying to suppress, you're trying to compress all this stuff. Suffering is always when you, imaginary you, is against your fears, your negative thoughts, your shame, your anxiety. You suffer and you act on it. You become destructive. You hate yourself. You damage other people. You're trying to suppress it, you're trying to run away with it. For example, like, I think it's better to give me an example. Yeah, simple real life example. Let's say something trigger you and you're angry. Let's draw a chain here. Let's draw a chain. It's so fun. Oh yeah, by the way, you don't have to believe me. This is the best part about all of this. You don't have to believe me, because it's not a concept that you have to accept. Just do it with me. You will see it clearly if you actually pay attention. Look, so there is an impulse. Let's say impulse. Someone looked at you on the street. Boom, that's the impulse trigger. I mean, yeah, I think it's better to say trigger. Let's say trigger. Someone look at you, that's a trigger. You see that person is looking at you, and what happens? You get an impulse right away. There is no thinking process, it's automatic because you get used to it after years of conditioning. So you get impulse. Let's connect them. Let's connect the dot. You get impulse. Boom. Why is it so? You get impulse. What happened next? You instantly get your thoughts and tension in your body at the almost at the same time. Let's start with the body. You get tension, tension, tension in your chest, for example. For some people, it's different. For me, let's say it's tension in my chest, tension in your chest, which in return starts the negative loop slash fight. Boom. That's the chain. There's a trigger. Someone look at you. You saw him looking at you, and you get a sudden automatic impulse. That impulse creates tension in your chest and negative loop. So someone looked at me, for example, and I get impulse, and I start thinking, is he laughing at me? Does he think that I'm stupid? Is he negative towards me? Is he judging me? And then the loop, and I feel like very heavy in my chest, and I start thinking, oh yeah, maybe because I look bad, I'm worthless, I'm a failure, and he sees me and he thinks that I'm a failure, and he judges me for being a failure. And this is where this happens. Oh my god, he thinks I'm a failure, he thinks I'm this, he thinks he judges me. And it's all automatic. You don't control it, right? If you could control it, you wouldn't ever do that to yourself, but it's automatic. The problem is you're trying to fight it. No, I'm gonna prove everyone that I'm the best. I'm gonna prove that I'm not stupid. No one told you that you're stupid in the first place. It's so unnecessary. In reality, let's look at the facts. What happened in this specific example? A person just looked at you, literally, factually, literally, physically. A person moved his eyes towards your direction. You looked and you saw it with your eyes, period. Everything else that goes after it is just nonsense, just fairy tales. But you create such a huge history behind it unnecessarily, and you waste energy thinking about it, fighting with it, trying to prove imaginary person that you're not what he thinks you think you are. All of this is one chain, one movement. There is no separate you who's actually fighting, because you is your history, your memory. And in your memory, a lot of people were judging you. And because in your memory, a lot of people were judging you, when this guy looked at you, it automatically played this whole chain, played this the same scenario where you fight. Because you want to protect your image of not being a failure. But both you who's trying to fight, who's not a failure, and trying to prove that you are not a failure, both you and what you're trying to prove are both from the same source. So it literally, both of them are thoughts. So if we simplify this stuff, so what's happening is thoughts fight with thoughts. And this is the breakthrough. Thoughts fight with thoughts. You don't fight with anyone. When you have a conflict in your head, you don't fight with anybody. You don't fight with your thoughts. You are a thought. Because you are that history, that family culture that was put in you. That thing a combination of those things created you to make it easy, and you associate your, like, you are the thought, and you're trying to fight with other thoughts, which is anxiety, shame, negative thoughts, fear, that were created also by the same pool. So it's the same thing that fights with the same thing, which is what? Useless, waste of energy, waste of years, because you're trying to run away, right? I'm a failure. You believe in it because there is someone who is you who believes that he is a failure and he doesn't take action, and that's how you waste your years. The shift: when observer is the observed, no inner fight is possible. When observer, you think that you are observer, is observed, when you get an insight that there is no like real entity that is you, you are observed. You see that you, who's fighting with thoughts, is the thought is fighting with thoughts. That's the like, in a nutshell, that's what observer is, the observed means. There's no like separate like separate entity who is watching his thoughts. It's just one thought looking at another thought, thinking that she is a separate thought, separate entity, but they're all came from the same cloth, which is this pool here. So there is no inner fight, which means when there is a negativity, you don't waste energy. The energy is not wasted on unnecessary fight. It just fades away like like a rain. It just starts and it stops by itself. Those negativity fades out by itself, and the energy that you used to waste on fighting unnecessarily is saved, and you have energy to still move on with the fear, with the anxiety. So what happens? As I said, tension drops, fear becomes a sensation, not a monster. Action becomes easier. You stop fighting yourself. Confidence appears naturally because there is no one left to doubt. Even doubting yourself means one thought doubts another second thought. You are invincible in this case. You know what I mean? It sounds poetic, but you literally become invincible because like there is no judgment, there is no doubts. You just do. You take action, analyze and take action. No personal offense to from anyone or to anybody. And a lot of people make it sound so scary, like they call it destruction of ego, and they make it look like there's a certain process behind it, like a certain, there's a secret, which annoys me a lot. The whole perception of spirituality, even the word spirituality, annoys me because of the movie media, a lot of other clowns in the space. It makes it look like there's a certain, like almost like a magical assumption about this whole thing, when in reality there's nothing magical, there's no secret, there is no oh my god, there is no, it's very obvious and simple. The concept, all our suffering are coming from the concept, and concepts are not the real thing. Concept can direct to certain things, but they don't represent the thing itself, you see. Once you truly understand it, there is no fear, psychological fear, because there is difference. Once you get insight into it, there is no fear, there is no doubt, no fear of judgment, because every single person on earth is like that as well. And when other people judge you, you're not afraid, because they're judging who? They're themselves a compilation of those, history of memory, and based on their standards they judge you, and you don't have to be under those standards, you know what I mean? Of course, as long as you a good, adequate, cool person who doesn't do evil. But even in the case of people doing damaging other people, they do it because of this inner conflict that they have, right? That's ongoing their whole life. I hope I made it clear. Don't be afraid, because a lot of people get scared. Like, what do I mean? There's no me. I'm gonna lose myself. You're not gonna lose anything. First of all, there's nothing to lose at all in the first place. And it's very subtle and it's very hard because of so many years of living the life of misery. If you really see it, you are you can do anything that you want. Yeah.